Okay, welcome back to another Molly's Mind. We haven't done one of these in a while, but this is a very important Molly's Mind. This is one that I've had a lot of thoughts in my mind recently about all the stuff that's been happening in our country with protests and riots and Black Lives Matter. And I don't necessarily know how to express my thoughts. I know how I have always been brought up, and that's I look at everybody equally, the same, black, white, whatever you are. I understand and empathize with my black friends that go through life differently than I do, and my wife being half black. I don't know. I've just I don't have the right words to say any of this, but I thought it was important for us to at least try to get out some of our thoughts. Molly has a lot of thoughts and opinions on this, but before we get any forward, I just want to first apologize to Molly, because you guys haven't seen it, but we've had a lot of conversations about this and different just stuff we've spoken about, and something that a lot of people are sharing right now on social media is all their thoughts and how people feel and how you should feel, this or that, but it's a lot about just listening to other people, and like I said, I know how I feel, but I don't think I've done a good job of listening to how you feel, and so I just want to apologize for that. And with that being said, I just want to give the floor to you, because I know this is something that's very important to you, for our daughters, for yourself personally. So yeah, if you...
No, I really thought it would be good to do a Molly's Mind, because we come on here, now there was a long hair, and now it came over my face. We come on here, once in a while and do a Molly's Mind on whatever topic it is, and sometimes it's topic we disagree on. We definitely don't disagree on this topic, I would say, but it's something that is just really important, not only just now, always, but I've done a lot of inward reflection over the last couple of days, and what this looks like for our house, for our family, and for us giving our support for Black Lives Matter and what that means. And so I have literally been glued to my cell phone more than I ever have, because I'm trying to just stay informed on everything that's going on across the country, across the world. The protests aren't even just in the US, it's also just all across the world. And how can we do more? What can we do at home? Because it starts with yourself, it starts in your home. And for us, we have 2 small kids, and what are we doing to teach our kids about this? What are we doing to make sure our daughters learn that Black Lives Matter? And what are we doing to make sure our daughters learn about Black history, about their history? Because they are, I don't care how light their skin is, they are still Black. And that is important, and it's important that they know that, and it's important that they are raised that way. It's important to me, and it should be important to you, and we can always, improve and do better. And that's something, I'm going on kind of a long rant here, but I have been just watching social media, and I've said it before on this channel a lot, that I follow a bunch of different mom accounts. That's where I get from, whether it's parenting or whether that's, Scotty is at the age where she's rolling over. So I'm looking at different accounts that teach me, how do I encourage these movements in my daughter? For myself, after postpartum, for labor and delivery, I get all of this information. I read a lot of books, but I also get a lot of information from different people on social media who have different kinds of credentials, also people who are just passionate about these things. All of these people are white, most of them, because for whatever reason, a lot of the accounts that I follow, they are white women. And why is that? I don't know. But a lot of them are taking this time who post daily and they don't say anything, or they throw up a half-ass post. One account that sells baby clothes, it's called Spearmint Love. They put up this just kind of BS like heart with all these different color hands.
No, blank out their names so they don't get any love.
Don't give them love with the hashtag end racism. I think they had a different hashtag before that, and they didn't have a hashtag. It had like white praying hands on it, and everybody was like, is this a Black Lives Matter post? Is this an All Lives Matter post? What is this? They started blocking and deleting those comments, blocking those people who are commenting that, and they have like almost 800,000 followers on Instagram. So that's a big account, and that's that says something. Not making a statement says something, making a half-ass statement says something, and for all of these people who are just on social media, there's people who are posting just because they feel like it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And what you said in the beginning is you don't have the right words. That's okay. You don't have to have the right words. You don't have to have all the answers. You have to come from a place, just like you did, of empathy and knowing that, one, you have white privilege, whether I have different privileges as well, even though I'm Black, and you have to know that, and you have to acknowledge that, and you have to look at it, how can I do better? What can I do? How can I help to move things forward to be anti-racist? It is not enough to just not be racist. You need to be anti-racist, and you need to be doing the work yourself. It is not on Black people to make your life easier, to figure out how they can help you do better. It's just like, for me, I don't know, like it's not like I actively thought about this every day. And obviously this is so much happening right now. So it's everywhere. Everywhere you look on social media, it's everywhere. There's really positive stories of police, protesting with people, getting down on one knee. There's so many positive stories like that, which is amazing. Not every single cop out there is a bad cop. Not every single white cop is a bad cop. Not every single Black cop is a good cop. It is across the board. There's good cops, bad cops, but there are also cops, like in the George Floyd situation, where 3 of them were watching that happen. Those are not good cops. Like, that's very clear. But then you are also seeing what's happening in, like, Atlanta, a young college couple tased. I get even emotional thinking about it. Tased and pulled out of their car, driving home to beat the curfew that was just put in place. In Denver, they just shot a car with tear gas. I think it was tear gas with a pregnant woman in the car. And then shot more when he came out and said, he was cursing at him, but he's like, I have a pregnant lady in here. And then they shot a ton more, little kids getting shot in the head with rubber pellets. Not every cop is a good cop. There are tons of amazing ones out there, but there's tons of police brutality, and it's just what can we do to do more? Well, first of all, what I said to you before is I don't ever vote in local votes. Why? I don't know. I just never did. I never thought about it. I never, that's a problem. That's a problem on both of us, and we can do better. I don't even know when our local elections are. Sometimes we see signs, I'm like, I don't know who that person is. Why don't we know who that person is?
Well, I think the system makes it very hard for people to understand, one, how to vote, and when to vote. It's not really out there, and also the accessibility to vote. Mm-hmm. So voting is usually on a Tuesday or something random, where a lot of minorities or people that have to work to get by, whereas upper class or whatnot can take the day off and go and vote.
Yeah, but you're allowed to vote.
No,
you're allowed to
100%,
not go to work to vote.
I know, but even now with COVID and stuff like that, mail-in balloting is a big thing. So
yes, but that COVID is just 2020. Pre-COVID,
no, I know.
We weren't out there
But it's not easy for a lot of people. If you have a driver's license, you should be able to just go and vote.
Oh,
it's not. The system is not made up so it's easy to vote, and that's a byproduct of because normally people who want to see a change, want to vote for someone who will help them, whereas people who are doing fine are just going to vote for people that are already doing stuff to pad their pockets even more.
Yeah, no, that's part of this whole thing is this is a systemic problem. This isn't just like a George Floyd was murdered, let's protest. This is years and years and years. This is the George Floyds, the Trayvon Martins, this is all of them. This is like all of the years of everything. It's not just, you know, people are saying like, oh, all this is happening because of one man. No, it's not one man. Like, it's all of these lives. It's all of these lives. And oh my gosh, it is so frustrating. I literally have just, I mean, not that it even matters to other people, but like just defriending every single person who hashtags all lives matter. Like, how can you not get that? It's not about white lives that no one is saying they don't matter. It's like that can't matter until Black lives matter that much equally, to be equal. Like, that's the problem. And like, people are so uncomfortable with even the thought of saying that Black lives matter. Like, why is that a problem for you? Why don't you ask yourself the question and do some inward reflection on why you have such a problem with that? It's just like, we're going to take a quick pause.
Well, I'll just say that, like, for me personally, you know, I tend to feel like I'm not a part of the problem because, you know, I know my beliefs. I know, you know, how I feel, how I am raised, how I'm going to raise my daughters. But in a way, and not to compare myself in any way to like those police officers who were standing around watching, like, their silence was complicity, you know, like, by them not saying anything, like, they were a part of that problem. So like, for me not saying anything, you know, when I see something, if I, you know, social media isn't the best example because like everyone has an opinion, which is like, you know, gonna be racist, gonna be, you know, derogatory, anything to just like put somebody down. But in real life, we see it all the time, you know, like, it could be at the grocery store. It could be, you know, like a buddy you think that sends a text and says a comment that's like, you're like you think it's weird, but you just let it go. Like, I'm sure there's tons of situations where everyone watching has seen some racism or something that they could have acted on, but maybe they didn't want to because, you know, it would cause an awkward conversation or something that, you know, made them feel uncomfortable. But what we're seeing now, you know, and I could say this for myself, it's like, it's good to feel uncomfortable because like now people know what it's like for Black people who have felt uncomfortable. It's not not the same thing, but like, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
But like, it's good to feel uncomfortable, you know, like, because it shows people's vulnerabilities and true colors, because like you can stand up and like, you know, really like make a difference, or you can just be quiet and like.
Yeah. I mean, there's uncomfortable, like, maybe you, like, for me, going somewhere and I'm the only Black person. That happens often. But for being, like, a Black male to be pulled over is not uncomfortable. I might die because the police officer told me to get out of the car and get on the ground. Or because I'm walking down the street and I see a white woman who thinks I look suspicious. Maybe I'm Amy Cooper and I see a Black man who tells me to put my dog on a leash, so I call the cops. That's not uncomfortable. That's you
life or death.
Are scared for your life and what the outcomes of those things could be. So I think white people who are uncomfortable, good, get uncomfortable. It's like, you have to do the work. You have to, you know, I think you're right. Like, even myself, just kind of sitting here thinking, what more could I have been doing? What more, you know, should we be doing? And that's why I said that about voting. And you're right, it is difficult, but we can look up, like, we can do the work and look up, like, where are our local elections? What are we voting for? You know, what's going on? I think for me personally, like, I don't like following politics because that makes me uncomfortable to watch Trump, to see all the things kind of just like going down the drain, staying down the drain, and it's depressing. It's like really takes a toll mentally to digest all that. But even today, like, I don't normally watch Kyle's videos, but I was watching one of Kyle's videos, not because anything against Kyle, but I just, like I said, it's depressing. But I need to do more to be aware of what's happening, what's going on on in the world. I still won't be turning on, CNN or Fox News, but I will make it a point to get my news from Kyle, and educate myself more on what's happening. Not only here, but also in the world and what's happening in other places. I think that's really important. I think as we think about how we raise our kids, I think that's important for us to be doing. And I think it's just, there's a lot of places I can look at things we do to make sure that we do a better job. I mean, outside of just kind of our everyday lives.
It's all like, and here's where I'm at. It's like, I'm still on social media and stuff like that, but like, there's so many voices right now that it almost like waters it down. Like it's like the analogy of like when I don't know what movie it was from, but it's just you hear so many people yelling, then all of a sudden it like just goes to silence. It's almost like it's so hard to like filter everything out right now because there are so many voices.
Yeah.
And there are good ones, there's bad ones, like but it's like how do you navigate that right now where it's like I'm at a point where it's like I don't enjoy watching these videos. I mean, like they're necessary to watch some of this stuff to see what's going on and understand it, but like I don't pay attention to what the president's saying.
I say this with a lot of love in my heart, but that's privilege. For you to be able to sit here and say, I don't enjoy watching these videos. Imagine being that person in the car, getting tased and pulled out. That's not a choice. That's not a choice as a black mother to get the call that your son was shot because he was walking down the street. That's not a choice that they have. They don't have that privilege to be able to do that, to tune it out, to not listen, to not pay attention to what's happening. That's a privilege that you have as a white man to be able to sit here and say, I get it. I mean, it's terrible. Not that you have to sit here and, watch every single video of what's happening, but that's the reality for a lot of people. It's their everyday life. And that's why it's such a problem.
But my question is like I know that goes on. Like I know that that's happening. I know that that's happening to black people in America. Like this isn't like new to me. It's not like this happened with George Floyd and I was like, oh shit, what? Like I know this has been happening and I try to live my life like having compassion and understanding what like everyone's going through.
Right, but my point is we know that it's happening. What more can we be doing? Not that you have to sit on your phone and look through every single terrible, horrible thing, but to acknowledge that that's a privilege to be able to say, I can sit here and mute that on, you can mute that out. You can easily sit on your phone and say, you know what? I'm not going to look at it. That's a privilege. That's the facts. Second, being able to say, what more can we do to help make changes, whether that's big or small? Can you donate to an organization? Okay, great. Can you, what are you doing to teach your kids that next generation? Okay, great. What are you doing to actually make changes with voting and looking up, like reading, informing yourself, like looking up what can we do? What is out there? What information should we be consuming to make sure that we're not contributing to the problem in any way and that we're working towards change? I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do from your own home. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can't do from your own home. There's just a lot of things, but first and foremost is, figuring out what it is and doing the work. And that's what I mean. And what I've been reading and what's been resonating with me is like, even as a black woman, I need to do the work. Right now, for me, one of the biggest things is what are we teaching our children? And what are we talking about with Nix? And what are we, by the age of 2.5, like some of these things already start to set in with kids. So what are we doing to make a conscious effort? And that's what we can do. And, we just need to think about that and have it at forefront. So that's kind of, the other thing, and I think for me is, and like you said, if you kind of, I've said this before on one of the other podcasts we did. I have been called the N-word before. I had been called a monkey before. I have had Other things happen to me in my life, and I've never really, I'm not going to try to fight somebody, or, I'm not here to
promote violence.
No, yeah, I'm not here to promote violence, but I'm not going to, if they think that, I'm not going to change their mind. I am not going to, if somebody calls me that, I'm not going to sit here and try to have an argument with them on why they shouldn't use that word, why they shouldn't call me that word. I'm not going to change their mind. That's the reality of it. Some of these things are so deeply ingrained in people that I'm not going to change their mind. But there are people, and we've talked about this the last couple of days, where people they want to learn more. They want to say, really self-reflect and say, how can I help make a difference? What can I be doing? What are, what's going on? How can I do this with my kids? What books can I read to my kids? Things like that. And just because they don't say something perfectly, people are still trying, and that's what matters. But when someone just shares something that a Black person created, a graphic on social media, it's like, you're just trying to kind of save face, or, but being genuine, and that's what matters, and people are coming from a place of curiosity but also not putting that, it's not up to me to do the work for you.
Right. Yeah.
It's not up to me to educate you. There's tons of books out there. Do your own research. Why is it up to me to make you more educated on the topic? But where was I going with that? Oh, but I think it's important to, take a stand. If you're somebody who's always on the internet, there's plenty of people who are not on the internet, who do things in their own home, who are doing the work in their own home. That's fantastic. Not everybody needs to go out there and make a stand. But for the people who are always on the internet, literally posting every day, and just posting their day is continuing, nothing is happening in the world around them right now. But when COVID hit, of course they're posting all about that. When, Starbucks is closed, they're posting all about that. But just gloss over. I told Corin, for anybody who knows the company, I'm not even going to say the company, but they do meal replacement shakes and workouts and stuff. This woman, she she preys on postpartum women after they have babies, and she'll always message me and be like, hey, do you want to join my program? And I'm like, no, I really don't. Today on my Instagram, messaged me to say, hey, just want to check in and see if you want to join. We have $20 off. I can, find out what your goals are, whatever. And all day I've been posting on my story just kind of ways that you can talk about race with kids, ways that you can, have diversity in your toys with your kids, just sharing that information back. And I found that so offensive that, first of all, she's been posting all day about random, her food, whatever, without a care in the world, and then messages me do I want to join right now, today, you found the need to do that. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I thought that was extremely just tone deaf.
Yeah, I mean, we do it in every other sense of life. If someone, passes away, you start off with hey, how you doing? And then maybe you get to your question or something.
If somebody, I mean, I can't even compare that, because
I know, but
you wouldn't go to somebody's funeral and be like, hey, do you want $20 off?
Of course not. No.
Right now, this is real. This is happening. That's the reality. Not that I'm not out there protesting. I'm in my own home, but I am seeing these things that are affecting so many people. And it's offensive. Hey, do you want $20 off to sign up today? What?
Yeah.
And that I'm
well, and that's what I said to you is there's a lot of people on social media, and I don't have a big platform or whatnot, but there are people that listen to us, and I felt it was important to at least just get on and talk about things that we're feeling and show support for the Black community, the protesters, obviously not rioters. There's people that are gonna riot that that's not good, but there's also people that in these moments you see their true colors, because they try to take advantage of this, and it's not genuine, so it's they do have a platform, and whether they got their platform for whatever reasons, like some of these people that now you've defollowed or whatever, like they get their platform for whatever reason, but people use these opportunities to grow their channels, and it's just wrong. And like, unfortunately, we live in a world, and hopefully it starts to change, where like that stuff gets rewarded, because even in bad times you see their following grow and they get money for a cause that they're not using those funds correctly. And it's like, that's on us to know who we're following, and like make sure you're donating to the right causes, and like and not contributing to like that bullshit. Like, it's
but at the end of the day, we can't know what everybody's true intentions are, right? It's not possible to know who's genuine and who's not. But you can tell for those people who, one, have been, making a statement since this first started, versus the person who made one at 9 p.m. today on what is today, Monday, who just made that statement now after everybody did. And we were talking about this with like big networks, like Netflix, I saw, was like one of the first ones that was like, we stand with the Black community, Black Lives Matter. That was like one of the first one. And then Twitter today like changed their whole thing around that. There's still companies who like haven't said anything, but the companies that were there at the front, and it's not like these companies are like, if they make a statement, you have a whole population of people. This is what I was saying to you, who are like, yes, people have something to gain from it, but there's also, for them, like, they're like, I actually have a lot to lose, because there's this whole other community who, obviously, those people who get so agitated, or when you say Black Lives Matter and they respond with All Lives Matter, they're not going to support that business anymore. So, it's a double-sided coin, that making the statement isn't just about what am I going to gain, but it's the right thing to do. There's, obviously, these corporations are all about money, but on an individual level, the people who are genuine, and like these big influencers that I'm talking about, who are going out there and they're making a statement and they're kind of fumbling over their words because they're white and they don't know what to say, that you can tell is genuine, versus someone who just like reposted. Like, there's this one girl that has like 800,000 followers, and she just reposted that this other person wrote in there, and it said, I was hesitant to make a statement because if I do, then everybody's going to say I'm doing it for gain. If I don't, then it's everybody's messaging me that they know my stance because I didn't say anything. So this girl, who I said has like 800 something thousand followers, didn't make her own post. She just reposted that. That is not genuine. Like, that is just, don't even say anything at all.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, it's like people are like, how can I grow my channel? How can I do this? Which is just like, I don't know. I mean, if you're doing that, it's sick. Like, eventually, like, people are going to know your true colors, that you're not a genuine person. Like,
you made a good point earlier when you said, there are going to be some people that don't change their stance. They're so rooted in their beliefs that, they feel one way or another towards this whole thing, and it's unfortunate, because like, right now, like, there shouldn't be any sides to this. It's like, we should all be equal, black, white.
Yeah, there's those things going around that says it's not black versus white, it's everyone against racism.
Yeah, so like, anyone who has a comment on there and says like, well, but, or this, like, it's like, no, like, there is no two sides to this, and that's where we are as a country. It's just like, people have said it before, but when something happens, it's just everybody runs to their corners, and it's just like, here's my talking points, here's your talking points. And it goes to the bigger issue of like, one, educating yourself more, and anyone who hasn't answered that fast to like something that just happened is like, it's just like dumb,
Yeah.
It's like, because it's like, no one has the answers right now. Obviously, like, everyone should feel like that's not right what happened to George Floyd, like, and you should feel upset about it, but like, for someone to say, here's why, blah, 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 it's just ignorant, because like, like, there is education on obviously what's happened in our country with, racism, but it's, I don't know the point I'm trying to make. that like we need to listen more. And like if you're just so quick to fire back an answer to someone and not see where they're coming from or understand their experiences, then you're just not doing anybody any justice. Like it just goes to more listening. And I don't know.
No, yeah. I mean, sometimes people just need to stop talking and sit back and listen. And, you know, like I said before, like this is the tipping point for people. And, you know, it's years and years and years and years and years of oppression that, you know, people are dealing with. And a system that's made to keep people down.
Well, my point, I guess, was also like that's their karma they have to live with too. Like, you know, your father speaks about it all the time. George, he's done plenty of chats on my channel. He's probably got a lot of opinions on this as well.
He told me when I told him today that we were gonna have a chat later, and he's like, I called dibs next. He's like, I got a lot to voice.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm sure he does, and I'd love to hear what he has to say. But like his biggest thing is like, you know, that's someone else's karma. So like you can go about how you go about, you know, like, but it's obviously like if you're in a situation, like I said, where you see something that someone said that was racist, like maybe stand up and say something now, you know, like now it's all about how we move forward now. So it's good for all these influencers and companies to put all this stuff out there, but now it's like, how do we act upon all this? Because it always keeps happening. The same stuff keeps happening and nothing changes. So like it's so easy to put a statement out there, you know, but like people got mad at the NFL because they put a statement out there. But like Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee in 2016, you know, like way before all this was happening peacefully, and people got mad at him that way. So now like it got to a tipping point where people are out protesting and rioting, and it's all because of like the system we live in. So no one was listening to him back then, and people are fed up. So it's like it's time to listen and actually act upon things. So it's like you do have to get out there and vote. And unfortunately, like it might take a while, and you might not see the, you know, everything come to fruition in the beginning, but like change will come. It's just
will it though? Will change come? Here we are. How many years later?
I hope. I mean, if
I mean,
what you see is a lot of young kids protesting, which is a good thing, because eventually they'll get married, they'll have kids, and you hope they raise their kids the correct way, and it's something that
but
you
you
started
also
doing.
see all the things happening, and all of those people will have kids. And, you know, it's like it goes both ways. So yes, we can move the needle, but it's like crawling. It's not. We're not. My dad said something today that said, you know, Black people aren't moving ahead by miles. They're moving ahead by like baby steps, by crawling. I don't know the exact wording, but they're crawling forward. So maybe you'll see change. Maybe we'll see change in my lifetime. Maybe not, you know, like, and that's why my dad said he wanted to talk to you. He's been on that side, you know, when this was going on before. So he's seen that. He's seen, you know, in different generations. There was something that you just said that I wanted to respond to. One about Colin Kaepernick and the protesting is like, people are like, oh, why all these crazy protests and the riots and the looting? And it's like, that was a peaceful protest, him on his knee, but that wasn't the right way. That wasn't the right time. What is the right way? What is the right time? It's just like, you know, people are quick to tell you how to feel, how to do things, but they're not the ones in these Black people's shoes.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that we've seen in media, and that's why you see in Atlanta.
Oh, I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
Sorry, I wanted to respond to you to say, like, Twitter makes a statement, Netflix makes a statement, but I was telling you that I saw Lil Wayne did an interview with Fat Joe, and he was basically saying kind of why he doesn't do stuff, which, I mean, the reasoning wasn't great, but he was basically saying, okay, you put on the shirt, and then what? So you make your statement, and then what? So it's like, what's happening after that? So, like, once the hashtag stopped trending, and then what? Like, what are you doing next? And that's why I was saying before, like, it starts in our home. Like, what are we teaching our kids? Are we getting out to vote? Are we doing the work? So it's not just like you make a statement and then that's it. Like, it doesn't just end. It's so deeply rooted that you have to do more. You have to figure out what that means and how you can do more.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and we disagreed on Lil Wayne a little bit because I said, I think you said his stance was that like he doesn't come out and
I think, well, I was like
this stuff
vaguely
often.
listening into the beginning, and I think he said people are always like, why aren't you coming out and taking a stance? And he said, because, yeah, if I put on the shirt, and then what? He's like, everybody wants to wear the shirt, everybody wants to make the post, but then what? So he's saying, like, he's not doing it because he's not doing the after work. So I don't agree with that. Why aren't you going to do the after work?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think there's people that can make a difference that sometimes don't make a difference because it could potentially hurt them. Like you had mentioned, and I'll bring this up with George, Michael Jordan now took a stance with, the stuff that's been going on. And, but back when he was playing, he had plenty of opportunities to say something and get in the front of, politicians, winning their races with his support, or, he's came out and said that Republicans buy Jordans too, or sneakers too, or something to that effect. A lot of times, like, athletes or someone don't want to ruffle feathers, and because it could hurt them and their brand. But like someone like Lil Wayne, there are like predominant black figures that could make a difference in these local communities. That like by him saying, now what next? It's like, well, people are following your lead, so it's like it's on you to figure out what's next.
I mean, totally, I agree with that. That's why I was saying I agree with him in his statement to saying, and then what? I don't agree with him, and I could be wrong because I was like half listening, but that he was saying that's why he doesn't do it, because he's not going to do the extra work, which is like ridiculous. But that's what my dad was saying, because I brought up the Michael Jordan thing with him, and he was like, that's why in his mind it's LeBron over Jordan, because he said LeBron was doing this stuff before he had big money. He was doing this stuff when he was still in college. And like to your point, when Michael was in the NBA at his time, he made the statement that Republicans still buy sneakers. And so the people who, they have something to lose, and it's like you still work for a company, you still have to do, you don't have all this money to put it all out there to do everything. Whereas these celebrities like Nick Cannon out there on the front lines, like there's like so many other celebrities who are out there doing the work because they are insulated by their money. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of privilege to do those things. Mm-hmm. And they should be. And those who don't, maybe you should take a look and question yourself why you are supporting them.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, like and that's why we have role models, and people look to teachers or nurses or anybody who they feel is doing the right thing to support. So I mean, it's like supporting local businesses and I don't know, just like we said, educating yourself on someone in your community who's doing something good, and how can you help them? How can you get out there and do something positive? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's also like I'm so quick to just buy something on Amazon because it's easy, but looking at where things that we're buying, like, are we supporting? There's ways to support, and not just the big brands, the big box stores, and supporting local businesses, supporting small businesses. And I do support, all the time, small businesses that I personally know, but there could be a lot more that we do in terms of research when we buy something, and where we're spending our money. So there's so many different ways to put in the work and things that we can be doing that we don't do right now. And so I think everybody can do that and can do more. So that's kind of what my thoughts are on that.
No, I mean, it's definitely just like scary times, it's a lot of information out, like it's just a lot going on, but the system is corrupt, it is broken, it does need to be fixed, and it is important to find out about local politicians who are hopefully doing the right thing to make a change, but like I said, who knows if they'll get elected.
So what? Who
No, I
knows
know.
if they'll get elected? That's the point of voting.
I know, I understand that. I'm just saying, like, it's like the system is not meant to help, regular
Yeah,
folks.
but I mean, yes, true. But if we always have that mentality, like, we're never gonna see change.
Yeah.
Like, we're never gonna see anything happen if we have that mentality. Like, we have to
And just
do
because
what
you
we
think
can
that you're
to make a difference. Sign petitions, like, do the work. Don't just kind of like swipe up and be like, I'm not gonna do it. Like, do it.
Yeah. And I could speak for myself, like, just because you think you're not a part of the problem, there's still many other ways you can help. You can keep educating yourself and listening to other people. Like, you had mentioned to me about the influencers and all this stuff, and I was like, why do you even care what they're saying, or like give a shit about any of that? And it's like, that's your way of educating yourself. You're finding out who's saying the right things. You're learning about new things, and maybe I'm not doing it the right way by sort of shunning it out,
But for me, I'm like, even in terms of, because that's what I like to follow, like, in my free time, that's where I like to get information, where you like to get information from the TV. I like to just, there's all these short clips, like, that's how I like to get information. But who am I supporting? Like, I need to take a look at that. Who am I supporting, and who am I taking my advice from, and how am I contributing to the problem in that way? And so I think some good hard reflection and kind of just looking at what I'm doing I'm not saying I can't support white people. I'm not saying I can't support any other race. That's for sure not what I'm saying. But I'm saying I think I need to take a look at what I'm supporting and how I'm contributing
to
society as a whole.
No, you're right. And it's I'm sure there's good podcasts out there. I don't know, any to recommend. But something that Molly did was, we bought a whole bunch of books for our daughters that, have all different races, two fathers, all disabled kids. Like, we just want to educate them that everyone, I don't know. I was brought up where I played with black, white, Spanish,
but
all
this
that.
is what I was saying to you today, and that's so important, is we do not live in a very diverse area. Mm-hmm. Where we live right now, it's where we live right now. Like, we're not picking up and moving anytime soon, and our daughters only interact with white people on a daily basis.
Well, you can speak for your experience where you said, like, your family's black.
Yes.
But, like, you tended to grow up with a lot of white people around you. And I said to you, I was like, but you went home and saw black people every day. And you're like, but I don't know.
Yes, but when you go to school and your whole class is white, those are the people that you make friendships with. Those are the people that, you relate with. And although my skin was a different color, and I said this in our last chat, I always felt comfortable around my friends. Outside of the incidents that I mentioned where I experienced racism, like overt racism, I'm sure there was tons of times where there was kind of undertones of racism, things like that. But the times that I experienced it personally, but the majority of the time, I had great friends growing up. I had a great childhood, but I did do karate, and there was tons of black people there, but that wasn't the people I saw daily. Like, we saw them at karate and at tournaments and stuff, but that wasn't who I did sports with. That wasn't, so in all of my sports, I was the only black lacrosse player on my team. I was the only one, so I know right now where we live, that's what our kids are going to experience. So it is so important that they see diversity in books. They see what other families look like. They see that, and they get that. And I mean, even in just one day of showing Nix a family of, she looked at the page today and she's like, all different kinds of families. And she's not even 2.5. And my point with that is they get it at such a young age. And so you have to start young. You have to, because it is so deeply ingrained. And so it's really important for me to look at, again, the toys that she has, the books that she has, and make sure that we do a good job as parents to raise better humans. Because the other thing is, I know I had, and my dad kind of brought this up to me today, like this internal, I don't know that I had so much, it's something I think about a lot because I know my skin is black, so I'm obviously black. Nyx has skin that's very white, like her skin is white, but she is black, like that's her history. So that's gonna be like an internal struggle, like where does she fit in? If she says she's black, someone's gonna look at her and be like, no, you're not. So, you know what I mean? Like that's something that she's gonna have to deal with. I mean, Scotty too. And so I think it's really important that we have these conversations, and we have these conversations regularly.
Well, yeah, I mean, I said this to Nia, was like, it's a compliment to an ethnicity or something if someone like has cornrows or something like that. Like I don't think that stuff should be criticized. Like, you know, it's a sign of respect that they like that look or like that type of music or something like that. So it's like,
here's another thing. People who, you know, you want to be so part of black culture, like the music, the rap music, the hair, the clothes, whatever, but you don't want to stand up for black people. You don't want to come to these protests. You want to say all lives matter. You don't want to be part of that, but you want to be part of black culture when it's convenient for you and when it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a convenience, and it's like, you know, not being uncomfortable. And that's why I said it's good to feel uncomfortable now. Like, because not everything is comfortable. Like, not everything is right in this world, and that's what's showing. You know, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that. I think it's like you can appreciate culture, but it's like, where are you? And another thing, I had a really long chat with my dad today, which was really good. But we were just talking about, you know, how people just repost the Martin Luther King quote to say, like, especially the silence one. I don't know the exact quote, but it's like, really? That's, you know, people hated King. He was assassinated, you know, and
some say by like the FBI.
If he was alive,
he would get hated on by
Fox
News.
Exactly. It's like, you know, people hate on Kaepernick. People hate on everyone when they're still alive, you know? People hated on Muhammad Ali, like, Malcolm X. People hated them. And then it's like, once they died, and they're like, oh, okay, I want to quote you now. Like, no.
Because it's convenient, and, you know, to use their quote and to pretend that you care and you support. So like Fox News on Martin Luther King Day, like showing a quote or saying happy Martin Luther King, like, fuck that, you know? Like, it's like, you hopefully see true people's colors in situations like this, and it's stuff that you need to remember, and it's people, it's who you associate yourself with. But I don't think, me personally, I don't think like removing that person from Facebook or someone like that I don't think that helps, because then it's like you are just surrounded by all people that think like you. Like, you need to see that shit to see that this stuff still exists, to like hopefully like change how you talk to someone else. I mean, that's my opinion on that.
Yeah,
all right, like you.
You can have your opinion on that.
It's almost like if you block out everybody with a difference of opinion than you, then it's like you just circle yourself with like-minded people who will never disagree with you, or like.
So let me tell you why I disagree on the Facebook one. Facebook specifically. Facebook is so different because it's like, it's not just like one picture like Instagram with some words. Facebook is like this whole network because of when it started, and like when you started Facebook, when I started Facebook, like it's all these people from college who you maybe met one time at a bar who you're friends with. Why do I need that person to look at my whole, because it's not on Facebook where they can follow you and you know, unfollow. It's a mutual friendship. Why do they need to see like my
No, there's certain
whole
people
life
that, like, if
on...
you've met once or twice, that, yes,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's
like,
what I'm
you don't
saying.
need to be
These
friends
people
with
on Facebook that like maybe I went to high school with and I was acquaintance with them in PE class. Like, I don't need to. I'm never gonna have a live conversation with them again in my life. I don't need them on Facebook. With Instagram, the reason why...
But hold on, let me stop you on Facebook.
Okay.
Is like there's situations where we've seen family members, like people who you're actually close with, that like you can't just block these people out of your... No, not
unfriend
you. I saw like a tweet earlier that was like, it was a cousin or something that like got their phone number of whatever. Like their cousin was like,
Yeah.
hey, I got your phone number from grandma. I've seen your post and I think blah, 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 blah. Like, it happens more often than you think, where it's like you see something from someone that you know pretty good, whether it's from the gym or like someone you interact with daily. It's a coworker that has these things that are just racist, and like, do you remove that person from your life, or do you try to like talk to them and understand what they're thinking, and then maybe you do come on, like, hopefully you would think they come around and like change their thoughts, or like you learn something about them that is like, oh, that's fucked up, you know, like...
So I think two things. I think when I'm saying I'm just kind of going through unfriending people, they're people I would never... They're people, they're acquaintance. This is me personally, my thoughts on this. They're people I would never have any interactions with again, ever. So I have no thoughts. And you know this, had an interaction with a family member, someone I am blood related to, who is white, and I told them my thoughts, to give them my thoughts on why they shouldn't say certain things, not only because they just have family who is black, but because it's, racist. And I came from a place of like, here's why, very, kind. They didn't agree with my point and they deleted the entire post. Fine, that's their choice to do, and that's what I said. It's your choice, and I'm not in the business of starting arguments with people on social media. As I've said before, I engage in comments all the time if I feel like I'm in the mood to do it, and sometimes like I don't. Like, I don't know, I like commenting on things if I want to, and if I don't, I don't. But I did that. I didn't unfriend the person. They're literally my cousin, but they know where I stand. I know where they stand. That's that. Am I going to be breaking bread with this person anytime soon? 100% not. Do I even want that person to be around my children ever? Probably not. Not because, and I mean that in the sense of, like, I get your point, like, differences of opinion, but there's a difference of opinion of we disagree on how to handle our social media, but when it comes down to deep-rooted racism and things like that, why do I need to subject myself to that? So I unfollowed their page, but I didn't unfriend them. But, I think you're right. Like, you can have a conversation with someone and say, here's why I think something, and they can disagree with you. But, I don't know. I don't think I need to engage with people who are racist in general.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of tough conversations that need to be had, because it's a lot of, I don't know, people just hiding behind their thoughts, and I'm sure people are thinking a lot of stuff that they're not saying. So, like, yes, do the homework, educate yourself, and then you can ask questions if you don't understand something or know something to someone that you respect, and hopefully you get an answer that you can learn some more, and maybe you act differently from it, or you have more empathy, or but yeah, it's not easy right now. A lot of people don't know what to say. They don't want to say the wrong thing. Because, I don't know, we live in a world where a lot of people are just quick to jump down. And I said this to you, and I was more so asking, I was like, are you just quick to pick apart anything someone's saying? And then you were like, no, I looked at what they were saying, and I've looked at previous posts or whatever, and I see someone's trying to make a difference or something like that. But like, I would just say, like, don't be so quick to, like, jump on someone because maybe they said the wrong thing. If you see that they're
Are you
trying.
telling me this? Or
No, I don't know.
people?
I'm just saying, like, yeah, to people, like,
Oh.
I don't know. I don't think it's so good to, like, just. It's like if someone puts a tweet up and the first comment right away is just some, like, negative, like, blah 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 bullshit. Like, I think,
Yeah.
like let something sit for a second,
Yeah.
and then, like, understand where they're coming from, like, and then if you see, like, oh, this is bullshit, then attack the shit out of them.
I think that's a really good point, and this is part of what I was talking to my dad about earlier. Is there's people who might say, "I don't see color," and think that that's not a bad thing to say, and he was like, "Yeah, that's extremely offensive," and I said, "But some people think in saying that they're saying like." I don't see a difference. I love all people, whatever their reason might be. And you can take that as a time to say why they shouldn't say that. Or someone says, people respond to saying Black Lives Matter with hashtag All Lives Matter. You're not trying to understand. You're trying to say that I don't care about Black lives. Like, using that hashtag as a response when someone just explained to you, that's no. But if someone, like, posts a thing and they say, I love everyone, hashtag All Lives Matter, they might genuinely think they're saying that for good, and then you explain to them, the whole firefighter analogy. Are you gonna, if the whole street is not on fire, but one house is on fire, let's say, let's hose everybody else off before we get to that house because all these houses matter too? No, you're gonna go to the house that's on fire. That's what people are saying with Black Lives Matter, that the Black community is the community that's hurting. That's the community that's in pain. That's the community that has been suffering for years and years, and they have been oppressed for years and years and years. That is the point of saying Black Lives Matter. So when you respond with All Lives Matter, after somebody explains that to you, then you have a problem and you can go away. Like, but I get your point. Like, don't just assume someone has ill intentions when they are trying to communicate something, because maybe they just are trying and they feel like maybe it's not my place. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this. That's okay. You can try and you could get corrected, and it's how you move forward with that.
Yeah, there was a good interaction with, it was Killer Mike and someone else tweeted, a white guy tweeted, like, person of color, and Killer Mike was like, I'm Black, like, and the guy was like, I apologize, like, I didn't mean to say something offensive.
What was the other guy?
A white guy.
Oh.
And, Killer Mike was like, I accept your apology. Like, he didn't mean, like, to offend anybody with that.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of stuff changes so quickly, too, that, like, maybe person of color was, like, okay to say back in the day, and now, like, you can't say it.
I'm not really sure either, because some posts, even from some of these Black women that I follow, will type out like POC.
Yeah.
Obviously means people of color. And then, so I don't know.
That's why it's tough. That's why it's like, people don't necessarily know.
This is the case, and I think you and Kyle have talked about that too with, in regards to disability, like, that's always changing on how they call things, to be more politically correct. But again, it's about learning to understand why something, if whatever group it is doesn't want to be called something, why they shouldn't be called that, or why you shouldn't say that. But it's like, people have said for however many years, like, obviously everyone knows they shouldn't call a Black person the N-word, yet you still hear white people saying it over and over again, then come out with an apology. I didn't mean to say it. Why are you still saying it? That didn't just change overnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, it's like, yes, you can be forgiving and understanding, and people can also change. People can have these deep-rooted things and do the work, and they realize, like, I am contributing to the problem. You're absolutely right there. But there's also people who are, like, never going to change, and it's not worth it in my time and energy to try and change somebody else.
Yeah, and it's sad. I mean, you would think someone who's older, who's seen a lot more, would be more willing to adapt and change and be more open to people's feelings. But I think it's the opposite. I think as you get older, you get more deeply enrooted in your beliefs, and you're not more willing to listen to other people. And that sucks. And I think hopefully that changes. I mean, you see a lot, like I said, you see a lot of young people who are, at these protests, and they're standing face to face with someone else, and they're listening, and like whether they're yelling at each other, but they're both getting their point across. They tend to be a lot of younger people. I mean, like I personally haven't seen a lot of videos of like, I don't know, like a 7-year-old person. Like,
well, yeah,
I'm sure they're out there, but like I said, I think people don't change as much as they get older, and I think I hope that changes. I mean, I know for myself, I'm 31. Like, I try to keep up with what's going on. Like like I said, stuff changes so fast that like I want to keep learning and keep understanding new things. You tell me things all the time, and I still say on the show probably stuff that's like offensive, but like I don't mean it intentionally, and you tell me after, and I'm like, okay, like I apologize for that. But there's some things that I'll defend, because I personally believe that, like, whether it's a joke I said that, I didn't think was bad, that you think was bad, we'll talk about it. But
yeah.
I'm open to hearing that, yes, it could be offensive, something that I said.
Yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge when you're wrong. And if you say something too offensive, take a step back and look at why something is offensive and why you shouldn't do something, and not just say, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, that's not genuine. And I feel like all we can do as people is learn and grow and continue on that path. You don't need to know everything as you get older. You don't need to know everything. You can't know everything. You can't keep up with everything. But all you can do is know what's right and wrong.
Yeah.
You know it's wrong to be racist of any kind. You know it's wrong to hate people because of the color of their skin, or because of what they look like, or because of what they can or cannot do. That is wrong. And you know that. Like, you inherently know that. Some people do not. And we cannot change those people, and it's sick and it's disgusting, but we can't change everybody.
Well, that's why a lot of the people that are on the other argument of these protests, like, they just feel like they have all the answers and they know everything, and it's like no one knows everything.
What do you mean? What do you mean on the other side of the protest?
Like the people that'll say all lives matter, or like or Trump supporters or whatnot. Like, they just feel like they know everything.
Well, also those people cannot acknowledge their privilege. They in their mind, they're like, yeah, all lives matter, everybody's equal. And then in the same breath, they're gonna say, yeah, it's sad that George Floyd died, or yeah, it's sad that what just insert black person name who was killed for no reason. It's sad, but stop looting and rioting. How about it's sad that looting and rioting is happening, but we need to stop these senseless killings. I saw that on social media. I did not think of that myself, but it's so true. Like, that needs to be flipped. That needs to be, the butt needs to be, we need to stop these senseless killings. Not that death was sad, but stop stealing things, or whatever it is. Like, that needs to be flipped, and the priority needs to be innocent people need to stop dying for no reason, just because of their color of their skin, just because they were sitting in their house, just because they were going for their jog, just because they had a hoodie on, just because they maybe forged a $20 bill. Whatever the case may be, it's crazy. And the fact that people are more concerned about items in Target over people's lives, and these are the same people who, I don't even know where I was going with that, but it's like mind-blowing. I feel like I have absorbed a lot of information over the last like 48 hours, and things that I'm like, we need to make these changes in our house, and I need to do more, digest more, and just kind of do more. I think everybody could do more, but
yeah, I don't know. We've been rambling for a while, but I mean,
yeah,
it's
at this point, I'm like, I think we came on here and just wanted to share our viewpoints, because for me, I feel like this has been a wake-up call, even in my own home. Even though my whole life I know this is important, I know this is something that I have always talked about with my family, But it's not something that we always talk about. Like, we've had some conversations, but it needs to be part of our dinner table conversation like it was for me growing up, especially because, like I said, we don't live in an area of much diversity here. So
and it needs to be something we sustain. Like it can't just be like, it's not just trendy to post something now, you know, and support. It's like,
what?
Yeah, it's how you move forward, how you live your life with all of this.
I think it's just really taking a look at what you're consuming and who you're supporting, where you're spending your money, and getting out to vote, what you're teaching your kids, all of that. The baby just woke up, so
yeah, do your homework, listen to more people, educate yourself, and then you know, ask questions if you have, but it's not someone else's responsibility for you to learn about this stuff. It's on us.
Yeah.
So
Tons of good resources.
Be proactive, be safe, be smart. Love you guys.